Well, hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, The Massmiverse. I recently had something happen to me at work where I was like, okay, I've reached my limit, and if I don't say anything, I'm the one going to be suffering. I'm going to be the one having to take the full brunt of all the consequences of whatever caused it all to happen. Most of the times when issues happen at work, we're all in conflict within ourselves, like the private version who we are in our private lives is always in conflict with who we feel like we should be at work, as in the human that we are in our separate private lives to the human that we are in our professional working lives. I think I found the solution to that. Before I go that far and tell you my story, let me describe what I mean with issues. Issues at work could be quarrels, disputes, misunderstandings, rumors, conflicts, escalations, fights and bickerings, schemes and lies, betrayal, to being gaslighted and then losing yourself, and all the kind of stuff. It's a mixture of all of those things all at once. There always comes a cause that bears an effect, which you then personally can decide on how to react to it. And the way you react to it is always key to what will happen and the decision that will be made, either to be in your favor, for it to be a tie, or in favor of the opposing party. Now, a cause could be you, your boss or supervisor, other colleagues, certain projects and situations with specific conditions that are not to your liking or not fully supportive of your current own condition. Family members, where you have your private life disturbing you and then you bring it to your professional life. And then also, friends who might be a great cause for some disputes that you then bring from your private life into the professional life, and then everything just stacks on top of each other, and that's not something you really like to experience. So all those are natural effects that bring about natural passive or active after effects. After effects could be hatred towards someone or against something, disgust, anger, rage. Writing down someone's name in your personal black book or imaginary black book, or let it be, now let's go to the anime version, someone's name in the death note. And also, in the old days, you would challenge someone to a duel to death, or cross swords with that person to have actions speaking louder than words. Most of the times, men are the ones who used to do that. Nowadays, it's more like, let's go to the police and see what the police will say or do. And most of the times, the police isn't helpful in those kinds of disputes. Or let me say the police at work, which would be HR, and other subjective parties. They always do it to go the politically correct way, and it's not really helpful for anyone. All in all, I think I somehow cracked the code to deal with those kinds of situations. If you don't believe me, let me take you on a little joyride and a story of what happened to me lately. Not lately. A year back, before we get to how I did it, that I managed to get on top of the situation. Conflicts can be really, really damaging, really, very destructive to the quality of life you have if you don't watch out for them. So, maybe through this story, it mightn't work for everyone perfectly, but it might just work for you and give you that hint of missing piece or enlightenment that you needed to see through it all, and then manage to maneuver yourself around the situation you're going through, or you might have in future. Here we go. Imagine this. You're being targeted by a shameful, scheming, and resourceful supervisor who gaslights you all day into thinking you're not worthy of your pay. Yet the truth is that your charisma, empathy, and personality are attracting so many people in the company that get to briefly work with you and know you. The gaslighting goes on for as far as making you sick, making you feel like each day you get up and have to go to work is the worst day of your life. You're starting to get accused of having made mistakes that have caused detrimental damage to the company or the processes in your department of the company. Even mistakes of other people are being credited to having been made by you or are being associated with you, and that just goes on for months and months and months till you start getting fed up of everything else and you reach a point of fuck this all, like literally. I don't care at all anymore. My life is more important to me than having a job that makes me feel like I'm the most worthless human in the whole wide world at the moment. So what do you do at this point? At this point of I don't give a fuck, of not giving a fuckness, you decide to write a resignation letter and then you hand it in to your supervisor. And the thing is, as a process of the company sees it, once someone resigns, it has to be escalated to the highest top brass. Then the offboarding can start. Funny thing is, the top brass, they start asking questions. Because each offboarding means maybe losing a very professional and very, let me say, important key player in the company, or a dormant, latent, sleeping talent that another company might get and make use of just because maybe something could have been resolved that wasn't talked about. So they start asking questions. And that's what happened. They started asking questions. The thing is, they start getting contradicting answers from the people who got to briefly know you and your supervisor. The people who got to briefly know you are all in for you. They are very fond of you. They like you, they like the way you work, like how you treat them, they like how you talk to them, they like just your personality and your way of being, how you bring life into the whole office at the company once you're there. In spite of having home office like 3 days of 5 in a week, the 2 days that you go to the company, everyone is joyful just to see your face. Apart from your supervisor, who is telling the top brass a totally different story from what the other people are telling them. So they try their best to find out what the truth is, because the truth might help in solving the situation and finding out why you handed in the resignation letter at the very beginning. Your boss or your supervisor simultaneously has been trying to make you lose face, an Asian thing. To say that someone is trying to make you lose face or you don't want to lose face. It's an Asian thing. I picked it up from some anime and manga. But the thing is, it's about making you look bad to your disadvantage with negative consequences. And that is something no one wants. The top brass start sending people to investigate and find out who you really are, people they trust. These people, you get to know them briefly, accidentally in projects that pop up or in situations that pop up, and then they're exactly in the office on the same days that you're in the office, yet you never used to see them months ago. It's like things start happening and you feel like a storm is brewing, but you don't know what you're supposed to be doing. You just keep on being yourself. Now these people get to know you, and then their opinions are also in sync with the opinions of the other people who got to know you before that had no means of preparing themselves for the questionings and audits of the top brass and their investigators. So they are saying the same thing as their investigators, that you're a kind person, your personality is really great, it's nice working with you, atmosphere is great, you do everything you can in your might to help someone in need, and indeed, you are good at what you do. They don't see any issues whatsoever with the kind of work you deliver and the results of your work and efforts, and you're not a lazy person. That's all in contradiction to what your supervisor has been saying about you all the time, just because they thought that no one will ever get to the point of getting to personally know you over a long period of time and then being able to hand in some kind of opinion. So what do? The time passes. You've already handed in your letter of resignation. Then you start doing your best to give it your all and go out with a bang. On your last day, you decide to bring your hardware, and that hardware is like you saying goodbye. Funny enough, the highest kind of top brass is in the office on the same day, and then they call you into the office to have a little chat. They then tell you that they would like for you to stay and that they will fill you in on the investigations they have been carrying out in the background. So to prevent bias, they had to keep it a secret from you, and that's what they did. And now they've done their investigations, they've come to an end, and you're thinking that's just like their form of saying, yeah, we finally found out you're really an asshole, goodbye. But then they hit you with this. You are getting a new supervisor, and then you're shocked, like, why am I getting a new supervisor? I mean, I wanted to resign. I don't want to be here anymore. I tried my best, but looks like if I am the cause of all the kinds of mistakes and damage that are happening to the company, and all my work is not cherished and I'm not of any kind of value, why should I stay? Then they're like, yeah, well, that is what certain people wanted you to think. Well, the new supervisor you're getting is going to be empathic, just like you are. And they're going to know how to treat fellow humans as they should be treated, with respect and kindness. Your tasks are going to change to match your personality and strengths. You're still taken aback, because that's what I was. I was just sitting in the chair thinking like, yeah, exactly what I thought. Fuck that. No, that's not what I thought. I'm kind of lost in translation. What exactly are you talking about? And they carry on. No one shall ever make you feel unworthy again. We shall also be involved in all teams and shall directly supervise all processes of all the teams, plus their workflows. And that will also be something we will adjust over time, of course, with the help of those key players as yourself, if you're willing to stay with us and give us another chance at this all. This is not what we expected to find when we started our investigations, and that just showed us our leniency in the field of supervising the supervisors. I was shocked. Put yourself in my shoes. I had been gaslighted all the time, thinking that I wasn't any good, I was of no value, I had nothing going for me, and everything I had been taught was being put into practice the wrong way. That is what I was meant to think the whole time. All that time, I was always kind. I was never an asshole. Always listened to people, gave it my all, and decided that if I'm going to go and leave this place, I'm going to go out with a bang. For my own good, for my own inner peace. Now, why did the person who was being gaslighted as I was finally get the upper hand and the benefits that he didn't even think of ever getting, because he was the one who was just new in the company, had just been there for about a year, and had done his best but was already fed up? Here's the code. Number 1. He was never unkind to anyone. I tried my best not to be an asshole. I did everything I could in my might to kind of keep my emotions under control. My mental prowess and my mental health was at an all-time low. Literally each day, if I wasn't meditating early in the morning or late in the night, before going to bed or before going to work, I wouldn't have made it out of that alive. In my private life, my spouse and everyone else in the family were all telling me how stupid I was to kind of hand in my resignation letter, something I had even already forgotten about because I was so focused on giving it my all in my last days. Of course, I had a plan B, C, and D of other opportunities and jobs that I could have taken, which were waiting for me after I had left that company with way more pay, closer to where I lived, but I decided to give them a second chance. Number one was, once again, I was never unkind to anyone. Number two, I might have been too much of a pushover back then because I wanted to have some respect and be loyal to those who had taught me everything about the job that I was doing. But there came a point where I was just like, fuck this all. So, number two is having a lot of potential and looking for moments to always be happy and cherishing the simple things about life. That will keep you strong and will keep you going even through the hardest times. Being able to breathe, being able to use your body, being able to walk, being able to talk, being able to see and not need any assistance with any kind of body part is something that will get you so far, more than you can even think of. That is what I did. I held on to the small things and I held on to my belief that even though the whole world thinks I am unworthy, the whole world as in the universe that was existing in that company at the time when I had the bad supervisor, I myself will not allow myself to think that of myself, about myself. So I started distracting myself with happy things. Whenever I got home, I did things that I cared about, started writing again, started drawing again. Listening to music was one great kind of therapeutic step that I took to help me have my inner world stay intact, even though the outer world was breaking apart. Number three, I never acted high and mighty. The guy in the story never ever acted high and mighty. I was humble. That humbleness created one thing. Those who got to know me and became fond of me felt like they had to protect me. They did everything in their might, and the funniest thing is they had connections to the toppest, highest brass in the company. So they did everything they could in their might to have me stay and have my supervisors learn a lesson for life. Meaning, even though they were the ones who had been in the company for a much longer time and had way more experience, they were very unfair and had it coming to them. Karma. So they are the ones who in the end had to leave the company at very bad conditions in a very short time with no one caring about their departure. So be humble. Be humble in a healthy manner, not being humble to the point of being a stepping stone and a mattress or rug for anyone else to step onto and do whatever they want with you. You have to set your boundaries, but stay humble. Number four is I always spoke my truth. Everyone who got to know me always kept on asking very funny questions that were out of context of what we had been talking about. Like we're talking about a certain project. Let me say a welcome day of welcoming newcomers to the company and teaching them everything about the company that is necessary for them to have a great orientation before getting to the technical and the critical onboarding of their specific teams, where they learned about what the company's culture is like, how they should act in times of conflicts. Then from that kind of context, they would jump to something like, by the way, how do you feel at the moment about the company? We've been talking so much about the company. How do you feel about it? And I'd be like, well, it's a great company, but I would change some things. And they were like, okay, what exactly would you change? And I was like, I would change how some people treat other people. What exactly do you mean? And I would just start yapping about my ideal company. And I was like, if someone makes a mistake and I know maybe that they could have made the mistake and they are vehemently against admitting to having made the mistake, I would try to find out who had made the mistake to begin with, where it came from, or at least just focus on solving the problem that was caused by the mistake. And after finding the solution, maybe showing everyone how to never have that mistake, and then finding out who made that mistake, and then talking to them and making them understand it's not bad to make a mistake if you find out that you made a mistake and you report the mistake as soon as you have noticed it. And the second thing is learning from mistakes is a great way to progress, so no one will be hurt or have some negative consequences from that just because they made a mistake. It's in fact something good, depending on how it is utilized. That is what I would do. And that is the kind of answer I used to give to different types of topics. That was just one of many topics. I always used to stay consistent with everyone, every answer that I used to give. And that is what made me gain the favor and support. People who would actually be leading international companies were talking to me, and they were like, what would you do? What would you change? Why do you think that that's a problem? How would you go about this and that? And I told them everything from my own point of view, in my own version, and I stayed consistent with everyone, because the good thing is I was only saying what I felt should be happening from the deepest part and core of my heart. And that is what made life easier for me, because I didn't have to keep up with any kind of lie and track who I told what. I was just saying whatever I said, and it so happened to be the same thing for everyone. So speak your truth, be consistent, don't be an asshole. Number 5. Number 5 is almost the last one. Having principles. It got so bad that I got to the point where I thought to myself, I'd rather die than stay at this job. I'd rather kill myself than stand one whole year at this job with these same kinds of people in that same kind of setting and situation. I boil it all down to choosing the type of intensity and magnitude of the wage slaving you want to have. You can have a wage slaving that is fun, that you still know is wage slaving, because any 9-to-5 job is still some kind of wage slaving in some kind of form and way. But you can choose which type of wage slaving you want. And you can go from one tier to the next tier to the next tier based on the conditions you are willing to withstand and deal with to get the kind of pay that they are trying to attract you with, to have the kind of life work balance that you feel you are worthy of. So I chose to have a different job, have a different setting, get to know new people, and be put into a situation that was quite disadvantageous for me at that time, until I started getting really good offers that were even way better than the job I had. Having principles. I kept to my principles of no one should ever make me feel bad for having been born or exist or even do my best at something, because I had signed a contract and the other end wasn't fulfilling their contract. It was only like me fulfilling my contract, my terms on the contract, and I decided not to stay there. And then the next thing, number 6, and this is the last part, is called always remain respectful. The guy in the story never ever insulted anyone. He might have cried to himself. He might have been pissed off at times when he went back home. He might have had no one to rely on, because everyone at home was just like, yeah, you made a mistake, that's your fault. Hypergamy and such just make people do things that are not really very supportive for any kind of relationship. So I also had problems on that end after having handed in my resignation letter and having, communicated that to my spouse. It so happened that she wasn't supporting me in any kind of way, because she was like, we wanted to have a family, build a house and all the kind of stuff, and then now you're leaving the job. I'm like, well, it was either that or me committing suicide, so whatever, I don't care. I feel like I did the right thing, and it's not like I didn't have a safety net. I had other jobs waiting and I would have gotten those ones. But yeah, I was never disrespectful to anyone. I had all the chances, I had all the rights to be angry, enraged, disrespectful, be very insulting at any given time, in any given moment. Did I? I didn't. All the investigators, those were managers, CEOs, those were team leads, service unit leaders, they all came talking to me from different branches when I was having my office days. And they would go back and report that to the highest brass. At the end of the day, I was in that office with the highest brass, and he was telling me, That is what we found out. That is why we want to keep you, and we are very sorry for all you had to go through. We have been investigating the situation for the last 2 to 3 months, and we have come to our final decree. It will be a loss if you would go, so please stay with us, and we will do our best to make you not ever regret having put your trust in us. That is how I ended up staying at the company that I gave another chance, a loyalty boost of me being loyal and staying with them, even though I had other offers that were way better with way much pay. I would only need a bicycle instead of having to drive for 20 minutes on the highway, those dangerous roads with a car. The moral of the story is that truth shall always come to the light in one way or another. So try to always stay true to yourself. Be authentic. People will find out that you are authentic. They will like you. They will want to be around you. And they will then start bringing opportunities to you, because humans are better humans with other humans working together. Second thing is, the truth that has come out to light shall always set you free if you have been a part of that truth or been living by it. Not everyone will like you. Not everyone will be happy about it. But it shall be the key to making you have a life that you will not regret on your deathbed. That is one of the main things I want to have when I'm on my deathbed, or let me say when the physical has had enough and my body is giving in and I feel like, yeah, my life is coming to an end. I want to look back and say to myself, just like in that song of One Republic, I did it all. At least I regret so little that I would do it all over again if I had a chance. Because living life with purpose and living life without no regrets is the best thing you can do to yourself. It keeps you younger, keeps you healthy. I haven't been sick ever since then for almost a year. And back then, I was frequently having something with my immune system. Something from somewhere, somehow. I would walk out the door, start sneezing, I'm down. I would start working, having headaches, I'm down. And I would see the face of my annoying supervisor. My emotions are boiling. I feel sick, start puking, I'm down. All that stuff disappeared once there was a change in supervision and a change in the concept of leadership that was being played out in the company, in my department. Speak, live, and act out on your truth. Be humble, be kind, never be disrespectful. Try to help wherever you can. Do not let people overstep their boundaries when it comes to your own principles and your quality of life. I will not say that you have only one life, because there are parallel lives happening at the moment. I will not go into metaphysics, but I can say one thing. Live life to the fullest each day. Cherish the simplicity of life. I think there are some lessons in that, as I would say, always being respectful, speaking your truth, living by your truth, being kind, and humbleness. Humbleness is one thing that is very overpowered, but very subtle. People will understand that your kindness and humbleness are genuine. And once they see that, they want to protect that, because that is something that's missing in such competitive settings and situations or scenes in life and environments. And they will do all they can in their might, once they've seen the value of that and have experienced it firsthand, to keep it that way. And anything that is a threat to that, they will see to it that it's decimated. That is what happened in my situation. And till to this day, I am still being protected by people who got to know me back then, who have gotten to know me. I am now someone who has connections to all kinds of people in the company. And it's thanks to people having believed in me, helped mentor me, and tried to nurture my personalities, traits, and strengths, and protected me from wolves that were trying to gaslight me into feeling unworthy and of no value. If you have something of that kind of similar making happening to you at your company or wherever you are in life, that could also happen at home, make sure you first have to set your principles and make sure that you live by them. You have to be able to make tough decisions and put yourself in very uncomfortable situations and settings to be able to have the kind of life you wish for yourself, that you are worthy of, and not have to have your body start falling sick and making yourself sick to a point of making life taste really bad. That is all I have to say for now. And yeah, I believe I wanted to make a video about some songs, the last songs that I would have, that are a must-have for a good musical taste. I still have one video to make about that. It's coming, because obviously I've had some things to deal with, as you've heard, but that is all of the past now. I am healed, not fully healed, but I'm on my best way. And yeah, see ya.